Good evening. Welcome to the Kent County Levy Court Business Meeting for Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. Before we actually open the meeting, I'll turn it over to the County Administrator to explain how those who wish to join us by phone and or WebEx can do so. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. This meeting is being held in person at 555 Bay Road, Dover, Delaware, in room 203. We also are making it available via the internet through WebEx. Participants can join us by computer or by phone during the meeting. There will be opportunities for public comment from those attending in person or online. When the President opens a public comment period, those attending the meeting in person may step forward to one of the two podiums and be recognized. If you're joining us online and wish to comment, please press *3, which will raise your electronic hand. Our operator will identify you and bring you into the meeting. Pressing *6 will mute and unmute your line. If you are participating online, you will see a hand and microphone icon at the bottom of your screen. We ask that you use those at the appropriate times. We ask our guests to begin public comments by stating your name and address for the record. We ask that public comments relate to the subject announced by the President. There is a period for general public comment near the end of the meeting. This meeting is being recorded and will follow all rules of procedure adopted by the Levy Court as well as the Mason's Rules of Order. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you. This time we'll open the business meeting. Call the meeting to order. I'll ask Commissioner Maskin to lead us in the invocation. Commissioner Scott, Pledge of Allegiance. Moment of silence for our troops and first responders. Commissioner Sweeney. All rise, please.
God of truth, enlighten us now as we meet together so that we each have a clear understanding of the issues we need to discuss. Give us clarity on our purpose for this meeting and what objectives we should accomplish in the meeting. May these objectives keep us on track, and may they bond us together with a common goal. May these objectives drive each of us to actively participate rather than passively listening. May this meeting be lively and productive, and may the desired outcome be achieved. Amen.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our military, law enforcement, firefighters, paramedics, and other first responders who have given their lives in the line of duty in protecting our freedoms. Please remember all these individuals as well as keeping their families in your thoughts and prayers as they deal with the loss of their loved ones. Officer Cody Allen from the Independence Police Department in Missouri, Trooper Christopher Gadd from the Washington State Patrol in Washington, Border Patrol Agent Christopher Luna from Customs and Border Protection, U.S. Homeland Security, Sergeant Thomas Sanfratello, Genesee County Sheriff's Office in New York, and K-9 Raiden from the Toma Police Department in Wisconsin, Chief Zeb Smith from the Fritch Volunteer Fire Department in Texas. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sweeney. Mr. Naka, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Present.
Mr. Hall?
Present.
Mr. Hertz?
Present.
Mrs. Maston?
Present.
Mr. Scott?
Present.
Mr. Sweeney?
Here.
Mr. Pepper?
Here.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 present.
Thank you. All 7 commissioners are here. I need a motion on the adoption of this evening's agenda.
Move to adopt, Mr. President.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Sweeney, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals tonight's agenda has been adopted. Need a motion on consent agenda 24-02.
Motion to accept consent agenda 2402.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Maston, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions? Seeing none, can we have roll call again, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals the consent agenda 24-02 has been approved by Levy Court. Okay, this evening we have 3 presentations. First one is Resolution 4035, recognizing Thursday, March 14th, 2024, as Brain Injury Survivor and Caregiver Day. Mr. Tanaka, can we have that read into the official record?
Mr. President, with your permission, I'd like to read it into record instead of Ms. Tanaka.
For the brain injury?
Brain injury one, yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Resolution 4035 declaring March 14th, 2024 as Brain Injury Survivors and Caregivers Day in Kent County, Delaware. Whereas the mission of the Brain Injury Association of Delaware is to create a better future for all through brain injury prevention, education, advocacy, and support. And whereas in the state of Delaware, there are approximately 65,000 persons living with traumatic brain injury, and only 14% of Delawareans receive follow-up visit after being treated for TBI in an emergency department or critical care facility. And whereas the Brain Injury Association of Delaware connects brain injury survivors and caregivers to resources in the community and offers monthly support groups to meet specific needs of each survivor. And whereas new this year, the Brain Injury Association of Delaware is establishing a brain injury network to provide community and hope for brain injury survivors, caregivers, and providers. And whereas the Brain Injury Network will connect survivors, caregivers, and providers to resources and navigation support needed to overcome the impacts of brain injury when needed, and the long-term outcome results in improved quality of life. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Kent County Levy Court does hereby proclaim the month of March 2024 Brain Injury Awareness Month and March 14th, 2024 as Brain Injury Survivors and Caregivers Day in Kent County, and urge our fellow citizens to support the efforts of the Brain Injury Association of Delaware to increase awareness. Be it further resolved that this resolution be and hereby is incorporated into the official minutes of the March 12th, 2024 meeting of the Kent County Levy Court, signed by Terry Pepper, President, Alan F. Angel, Vice President, and the remainder of Levy Court Commissioners.
Second the motion.
Thank you. That was, Commissioner Sweeney, that was a motion.
Correct.
And Commissioner Angel seconded the motion. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Mr. Naka, can we have roll call, please, on this resolution, 4035?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals Resolution 4035 declaring March 14, 2024 Brain Injury Survivors and Caregivers Day in Kent County, Delaware. We have some folks here this evening to help celebrate this with us, and I'd like to ask you to all come down forward and meet the commissioners down, and we'll present this to you. By luck.
You got lucky.
Yeah. Okay, next item on the agenda is presentation to Levy Court from Central Delaware Habitat for Humanity. Who do we have? Please come forward. We like receiving things. Good things. Hope you're not giving us a bill.
No,
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, sir?
Good, good.
My name is Mike Weeks. I'm the Director of Development for Central Delaware Habitat. And this is Chrissy Kyrus, our Director of Operations. On behalf of Central Delaware Habitat, we want to present you this award as Grantor of the Year and appreciate your continued support for our work.
Thank you, thank you. You folks do a world of good in Kent County, and with the homes that you build and the recycling of products, it's just a world of good that, and from what I find, you're a well-kept secret for some reason, yeah. So, but thank you for everything you do, and we'll display this proudly, and we've got a great place to display this. So, thank you very much, and let the other commissioners say a few words.
Yes, thank you. I've been to a couple of the homes where the people have been in when you've done their open houses, and they're so appreciative of what you've done for them. And I know they have to qualify, but you help get them there, and thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you so much for all that you do. I've certainly seen a lot of properties around the Smyrna-Clayton area that you guys have done, and you deserve a world of credit for it. And again, thank you.
Again, as they've all said, thank you for everything that you do. It makes a world of difference in Kent County and throughout the state.
You know, we appreciate this, but I hope there's an award somewhere that you guys are getting for all that you do in the county. We appreciate it, and we're glad you're there.
Yeah, thank you for all you do, and especially you, Mike. You're my appointee on the CDBG board, and you've done a fantastic job since you've been on there. Thank you all.
Thanks so much for all you do for our communities and our people here. It's much needed, and we really appreciate everything you do for us.
Yeah, echoing the thanks, and for being a charity that is not a handout but a hand up. That means a lot in Kent County.
Well, thank you very much. Are we ready to take some pictures? Just retirement. Is he here? Trudy, is the retiree here? Okay, so we just need to read the resolution and vote on it. Okay, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is Resolution 4034, Retirement of Vaughn McCall. Ori, can we have that read into minutes, please?
Yep. Whereas the retirement of Vaughn McCall, an employee of Kent County, State of Delaware, from his duties as biosolids plant operator, Department of Public Works, Wastewater Facilities Division, presents a suitable opportunity for expressing the esteem in which we hold Vaughn McCall as a good and faithful public servant. Therefore, be it resolved that the County of Kent express its warmest appreciation and thanks to Vaughn McCall for the able and loyal manner in which he performed his public duties. Be it further resolved that this resolution be his evidence of right to the pension provided by the Kent County Employees Retirement Program, and that this resolution be and hereby is incorporated into the official minutes of the March 12, 2024 meeting of the Kent County Levy Court.
Thank you. This is Resolution 4034, so we do need to vote on it. So need a motion, please.
Move to approve Resolution 4034.
Second?
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Sweeney, second by Commissioner Hall. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals Resolution 4034 was passed by Levy Court. Vaughn could not be here this evening, so we'll do the presentation for this at a later time. So thank you. Do we have some introductions this evening?
Good evening, everyone. We did have one new hire in the month of February in our Register of Wills office. So Ms. Diane Rager is going to introduce Ms. Amy Brennan.
Good evening, Commissioners. Harold wanted to let you know he's not going to be able to make it tonight, and he's really sorry, but he's trusted me to do this, so we'll see. Amy Brennan was hired as the Clerk 1 in the Register of Wills office on February 12th. She's been here for 1 month. Recently, she worked as an administrative assistant for True Grit LLC, and prior to that, she was an office manager for Steen Chiropractics. She's only been here for 1 month, but she has already surpassed my expectations of what a new employee should be, and we're just delighted that she's joined our team. Amy?
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to come work for Kent County Register of Wills. Moving from California a year and a half ago, I would have never dreamt that I would have a job that I love. Everyone has been so welcoming and helpful. I hope and pray that this will be my final home until I decide to retire. So thank you again, and I thank my family, all my family, for coming out, loving and supporting me. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Amy, and congratulations on being selected for the position.
Thank
and
you.
we certainly do appreciate having you here, and we'd like to welcome you to the Kent County family.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Commissioner Sweeney, you also live in his district?
Not that part.
Yeah, Amy, you live in my district. Welcome aboard. You're going to find, like President Pepper just said, that you've entered a family. These aren't just coworkers. They're just not people you work with from 8 to 5. These become your family members. Right. And you've picked a great department to step into. So congratulations and thanks. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Okay, I believe that concludes our introductions this evening and our special presentations. There are no public hearings scheduled for this evening, no old business. We do have new business, which are action items from March 5th, 2024 workshop. Commissioner Scott, do you have one?
Thank you, Mr. President. So last year, the Levy Court had entered into an agreement to move forward on a possible paramedic station on Harrington Fire Company's property. At that time, Harrington Fire Company had went ahead and completed some site plan preparations, plan design, alarm system design, and a sprinkler design. And not long afterwards, Levy Court went another direction. These were incurred costs that the Harrington Fire Department received directly. So I moved to approve the payment to the Harrington Fire Company for the incurred costs for the planning phase of the proposed medic station design. Funding will be provided from the contingency.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals the motion was approved by Levy Court. Commissioner Scott, you have another one.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'll call Deputy Chief Tinger up to the podium.
Thank you, Commissioner Scott. Good evening, Commissioners. Before you tonight is a proposal for engineering and architectural services by DEDC for 2 new EMS stations and a storage facility for the county command vehicle. DEDC holds a Delaware state contract providing professional engineering and architectural services for major capital projects, offers us a competitive rate and proven expertise. While this proposal excludes geotechnical engineering, this will be addressed by DEDC, who will select a subcontractor in the specific area if awarded tonight. For the properties, just to update you, we are in the process of acquiring the Harrington location and already own the Frederica site, which will house both the EMS station and the storage building for the command vehicle. Thank you for your consideration in supporting this crucial step for our county's public safety infrastructure. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Tinger? Mr. Sweeney?
Thank you, sir. Just one. We already have budgeted numbers set aside for this, right?
I'm going to have to defer to the county administrator on that.
That's,
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I just want that on record that, we're not looking for new money here. This is already a done deal, so thanks, John.
Mr. Commissioner, the funds were being used from ARPA funding.
Any other questions? If not, can we have roll call, please? Need a motion first? Yeah. Mr. Scott,
Thank
you
you,
want to
Mr.
make that
President. A motion to approve is presented the proposal from DEDC, an engineering firm in Newark, Delaware, to provide professional engineering and architectural services for the design, build of an EMS station in Harrington and an EMS station near Frederica, and a storage building for the county command vehicle in the amount of $423,460 to authorize the county attorney to review the professional services agreement for the president to sign such agreement, any other relevant documents when prepared.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Maston. Any questions? Any questions on the motion? If not now, can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed by Levy Court. Next item on the agenda
Thank you, Mr.
falls under Commissioner Angel. We have 2 items.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Decker, is this you or Mr. Simmons?
Either one. I think this is the matter that's been workshopped by Levy Court. Bryant from CAI, our consultant who is assisting us with the MUNIS implementation, prepared this, which is contract change order number 3. There's a suggested motion on the second page, which I think is pretty self-explanatory, but this is the changes as discussed by Levy Court previously.
Any questions on these 2, gentlemen, ladies? Okay. I move to approve the contract with ClearGov, Inc. for budget management software as presented and recommend the county staff during March 5th, 2024 workshop. I further move to authorize the President of Levy Court to execute said amendment on behalf of Kent County Levy Court.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Mr. Naka, can we have roll call again, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion's passed by levy court. Second item, Commissioner Angel.
There's a second part to that one, Mr. President. Tyler Munis Contract Amendment Change Order Number 3.
I didn't see that.
Questions on that one, ladies and gentlemen? I make a motion to amend the existing ERP implementation contract with Tyler Technologies with an approval of Change Order Number 3, removing utility billing metering software and open finance software as presented, and recommend the county staff during the workshop of March 5th, 2024. The removal of this software service results in a net reduction in the county's annual recurring Tyler contractual commitment totaling $19,243.75 through 3/31/25, and the reduction of a one-time Tyler contractual commitment of $14,940. I further move to authorize the President of Levy Court to execute said amendment on behalf of Kent County Levy Court.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Maston. Any questions on that motion? Seeing none, let's have a roll call, please. Ms. Tanaka.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed by levy court. Now, item 2, policy 24-03. Mr. Angel.
Thank you. Mr. Decker, anything further, sir?
Yeah, I see that the HR director slipped out of the room in an example of excellent timing. This is a whistleblower protection policy that was reviewed and discussed by Levy Court at the previous workshop. It's fairly straightforward. It simply adds a section to the existing policy manual affording individuals who are whistleblowers specific protections. And it's been reviewed by legal counsel. It is supplementary to the Delaware state law that covers the same subject.
Thank you, sir. Any further questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Just one more comment, and the employee council has reviewed and approved.
I make a motion to approve as presented policy 16, whistleblower protection to the Kent County Policy Manual under employment policies.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Hall. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals levy court policy P24-03 has been approved by levy court. Next item, Commissioner Sweeney, involves a resolution. If you'll read that resolution too, please.
I will. Thank you, sir. Move to approve Resolution 4036 for the Goggin Manor. Whereas in 2022, the Kent County Levy Court received a $500,000 grant from the National Park Service to make improvements to the Goggin Manor located in Brecknock Park. And whereas the Levy Court Commissioners support the stabilization and eventual restoration of this important historic structure for the benefit of Kent County residents. And whereas the Levy Court Commissioners further wish to define this support in this resolution to inform future levy courts without binding those governing bodies to any particular course of action related to Goggin Manor. Now therefore it be resolved that we affirm our willingness to accept the $500,000 grant from the National Park Service and to provide the requiring matching funds of $500,000 as previously appropriated in the county budget. And be it further resolved that the grant funds and county match will be used to stabilize the exterior of the structure, make necessary repairs to the foundation, and any other such work as deemed necessary to ensure the structure is preserved for future generations. And be it further resolved that staff be directed to seek a grant extension from the National Park Service to facilitate the project. And be it further resolved that staff are authorized to proceed with securing such professional assistance as necessary to further the project, including but not limited to project management, architectural and engineering, and grant administration services. And be it further resolved that it is the intent of this levy court to remain within the $1 million budget to expend funds on necessary professional services and improvements such as the foundation, roof, and exterior of the structure, and be it further resolved that it is not the intent of this levy court to fund interior renovations or restorations, support the eventual operation of the structure as a possible museum or historic site, contribute to ongoing operations and maintenance costs of the structure after the renovations are completed, and be it further resolved that it is not the intent of levy court for this resolution to interfere with any existing agreement or memorandum of understanding related to the Goggin Manor, such as the agreement with the Friends of Historic Camden. However, we expect interested groups like the Friends of Historic Camden, the Town of Camden, and other entities to build on the progress forged by levy court by raising funds and securing resources to complete the full restoration of Goggin Manor to a historic building open to the public. And just to ad lib, I want to thank the levy court commissioners and county administrator for moving this forward. That was my motion.
And that was your motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Sweeney, second by Commissioner Maston. Discussion? Questions?
First of all, I don't disagree with what we talked about in the workshop as to what we want to do with the Goggin Manor. I think it's a great thing. But I do have a question. Because we said we were going to do the foundation, exterior, et cetera, it was never going to be a museum, et cetera. My only question is where it says, be it further resolved that the grant funds and the county match will be used to stabilize the exterior of the structure. I get it. Make necessary repairs to the foundation. I get it. And any other such work is deemed necessary to ensure that the structure is preserved for future generations. I get it. But a question. When we talked about the exterior, obviously windows or something that most likely is probably going to have to be replaced, if I'm correct. My question to you is, when you take those windows out, obviously there's interior work that's going to have to be done unless you're pretty good. I mean, the folks that I know, and I talked to the folks in Smyrna about this that have the historic homes and the amount of money that they've had to spend to keep these homes up because they do get preservation tax credits. My question to you is, though, when you start pulling windows out or you're having to redo doors and things like that, am I correct that there's a possibility that we're going to have to pay monies to, carpenters or preservation specialists that's going to have to do interior work? I mean, I don't know how that works. I've never redone a historic house, but I have a concern about that. If we say exterior, you take exterior stuff out, you tear up interior. At least I think that's the way it works. But I'm certainly not against this project.
Questions, comments?
My own response would be that it's very clear that we're staying within the $1 million that's already been set aside.
Commissioner Hertz?
I agreed last week that you would ask for extension, but also that we work on a path to find funds to match that $500,000 from the National Park Service and not use county money. So I'm opposed to number 4.
Commissioner Sweeney, you want to have any comments on that?
You know what? Just call the vote.
Commissioner Angel?
I just wanted to say that I thought we had an agreement too that we had to look at uprighting the building before anything could be done to windows and doors, because the structural integrity of the building, if it's 5 inches down on one side, you have to upright it to get it equal before you can do anything with windows and doors. At least that's been my way of dealing with building issues before. So I don't have a problem with what's being said there, because it has to be uprighted first for structurally before you do anything with windows and doors. So I'm fine with that.
Any other? Commissioner Scott?
Mr. President, my question would be the last one, that it is not the intent of levy court for the resolution to interfere with any existing agreement. I thought that was kind of why we were doing this, was because nobody really has any documentation on any previous existing agreements.
No, the only thing we don't have any previous documentation on was the acceptance of the $500,000. That memo of understanding between us and the Friends of Historic Camden has been in place for about a dozen years.
County Administrator has a comment.
So I believe I've seen that memorandum of understanding. We can have Lori get it from the archives because I think we have a copy of it. I think the language was just to try to address the comment in the workshop about not having this interfere with that, because if there's a standing agreement. In terms of the nature or the extent of the renovations, until we get professionals, including an architect and a structural engineer, we won't really know how the work will be staged. So it may be that to stabilize the structure, we don't actually get to the windows, but clearly it's going to require a fair amount of work to evaluate what we can get done, what's realistic with the amount of funding available. Third, I think we're going to continue, based on the direction of Levy Court, to seek grants. The challenge we have is the clock is running on the existing National Park Service grant. So it could take months before we have grant opportunities that we learn of. And so we're going to continue to try to secure additional resources that would hopefully offset, that we could use for match. Because if we find additional resources, naturally we'll want to bring those to bear, staying within the $1 million project. It's just that if we don't get started soon, we're going to run the clock out on the NPS grant, because there's a fair amount of front work and paperwork. So it is if you want to take the $500,000, the time is upon us to make that decision.
Any other questions? If not, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes, and especially what Mr. Decker just said about if we don't get started, we'll lose this anyway. So, yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
No.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
I'm going to vote no. I don't like some of the wording with it.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 5 yeas, 2 nay.
Thank you. Roll call reveals Resolution 4036 has been approved by Levy Court. The next item on the agenda, Commissioner Maston.
Okay, I believe this one was addressed at our recent workshop, so I move that Levy Court approve the revised memorandum of understanding with the Kent Conservation District for the administration of the Stormwater Maintenance District program and authorize the President of Levy Court to sign same.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Maston, second by Commissioner Angel. Any questions? Any questions? Seeing none, can we have roll call on this item, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed by Levy Court. Next item, Commissioner Maston, is an introduction.
Yes, introduction of ordinance LC 24-03, adequate public facilities, an ordinance to amend Kent County Code, Volume 2, Chapter 187, subdivision and land development, as amended by revising. Wait a minute. Start over here. An ordinance to amend Kent County Code, Volume 2, Chapter 187, subdivision and land development, as amended by revising Article 17, supplementary regulations, Section 187-90.2, adequate public facilities, in order to delete the provisions regarding roads, schools, and water, for public hearing on Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024 at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Commissioner Hertz, you have some items there.
All right. I got a community grant request for Harrington Fire Company. They're having first annual First Responders Day on Saturday, April 13th, 2024, and they're requesting $740 for a banner from JD Signs in Felton, Delaware, for a total cost of $750. Any questions? I see none. So I'll make a motion. I move to award a community event promotional grant in the amount of $750 to Harrington Fire Company to assist with the cost of purchasing a banner for the first responders event that will be held on Harrington on Saturday, April 13th, 2024.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hertz, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions? None. Can we have roll call, please?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed by Levy Court. Item number 2, Commissioner Hertz.
All right, we discussed this in workshop last week. We bid out the contract for mowing the grass at the sewer facilities, and we're going to award it to Simon's Lawn Care at a price of $52,800. Is there any questions? Okay, I see none, so I'll make a motion. Move to award the grass cutting services for the 2024 and 2025 mowing seasons to Simon's Lawn Care LLC based on a unit bid price from April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2026. Funds will be fiscal year 2024, fiscal year 2025, and fiscal year 2026 sewer fund operation revenue, and will authorize the president of Levy Court to execute the contract agreement subject to the county attorney's concurrence and the authorized insurance of a purchase order.
That's a motion. Need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hertz, second by Commissioner Maston. Any questions on that motion? If not, can we roll call, please, Mr. Black?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed by Levy Court. Third item.
Third item is the purchase of a self-propelled boom lift supplied by Evergreen Specialty Services for $66,500. Is there any questions? I see none. My only comment is that hopefully in the future we do something to try to award this stuff to companies in Delaware versus New York. I move to approve the purchase of one self-propelled boom lift in the amount of $66,500 from Evergreen Specialty Services and to approve the issuance of a purchase order. Funding is fiscal year 2024 sewer fund operating revenue.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hertz, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions? Any questions on the motion? If not, Mr. Tanaka, let's have a roll call, please.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed by Levy Court. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is Paris Villa, London Village Septic Elimination Project by Teal Construction, change order number 6. Final quantity adjustment, and this will actually cover that lift and the lawn mowing service for at least 2 years. Any questions? I see none. Move to approve change order number 6 for Paris Villa, London Village Septic Elimination Project with Teal Construction Incorporated, decreasing the contract amount by $237,984.34, contingent upon USDA concurrence, and authorize the president of Levy Court to execute the associated change order.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Hertz, second by Commissioner Scott. Any questions? If not, can we have a roll call, please, Mr. Tanaka?
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Absolutely.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals the motion passed by Levy Court. That's the end of our workshop action items. Commissioner Angel, we need you to make motions on item 1 and 2 under other business.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to go in executive session immediately following the business meeting for preliminary discussion on site acquisition for publicly funded capital improvement, legal strategy session regarding collective bargaining or pending or potential litigation and personal matters pursuant to 29 Del Code 10004 B2, 4, and 9.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Maston. Any questions on that motion? Seeing none, give me a roll call, please.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. We will have executive session immediately following this meeting, and we will not come back from that executive session. Item number 2, Mr. Angel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to go into executive session immediately following the committee meetings or workshop of March 19th, 2024 for preliminary discussion on site acquisition for publicly funded capital improvement, legal strategy session regarding collective bargaining or pending or potential litigation, and personal matters to 29 Del Code C 10004 B 2, 4, and 9.
Need a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Sweeney. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, give me a roll call, please. Ms. Tanaka.
Mr. Angel?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hertz?
Yes.
Mrs. Maston?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Pepper?
Yes.
Mr. President, roll call reveals 7 yeas.
Thank you. Roll call reveals motion passed. Any information items this evening? Commissioner Maston?
Just one. Smyrna has their St. Patty's Day Parade on Sunday, the 17th at 2 p.m. All are invited.
Commissioner Angel?
Thank you, Mr. President. This weekend I was reviewing my Washington, D.C. information that I learned, and I came across a note that I somehow buried in between one of my pages that I forgot about. And I just wanted to let you know that when you get a spam call now and you say good morning, good evening, or you say one thing, your voice now can be mimicked and spread across anything you want. What happened was a business answered the phone and they took out money out of their bank account because it was voice activated. So I just wanted to let you know that the scamming process has got high tech now, and if you don't know the number or you're answering a number, be careful. I did it today by accident because it came up Christina Care, thinking it was my doctor calling. And I said, good morning, doc, and it wasn't. I got the beep, and it was a foreign voice. So that's why I wanted to let you know, since that just happened to me today too. So just want to let you all know, be careful.
Thank you. Any other information items? All right, any public comments? Any public comment? And we have no one on the phone or online. Any commissioner comments? Mr. Maston?
I'm sure Mr. Hall thinks he gets off with a free pass tonight, but today is his birthday. So we should sing happy birthday.
Okay, led by Commissioner Maston. You're getting older. Yeah, any other commissioner comments? Okay. Need a motion to adjourn to executive session.
So move, Mr. President.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Angel, second by Commissioner Maston. All in favor, aye. Anybody want to stay? No. Okay, we will be going into executive session. And we are adjourned.